Hi, my name is Ashley Brown, and I have the truly great privilege and honor of being the head of the Women's Resource Center. And I'm so happy you're here today with us. I paid John from METV to start the big clapping. Yes. And while I have the privilege to be the face of the Women's Resource Center, there's really so many people that support me that make me look good. And I need to acknowledge and recognize them. First, my mom's here. Give us a wave, Mom. Yes. This is all for you, Mom. No. Okay, other than birthing and being really supportive, no, really my team at the Women's Resource Center, I know Regina and Kaylee are in the back, Leslie's up front. If you guys could just stand, Julie Taylor, yes. Thank you guys for being here. And we have about 150 volunteers, board members, volunteers, etc. If you all could please just stand so we can acknowledge and thank you. And then a special thanks today, and I forgot Chris Braun and Eva. Where are Chris and Eva? Yes. It's because you were right in front of me. I only have peripheral vision. So thank you guys. So Chris and Eva are the home team in the Manatee office, making sure programming and our clients are always going well. Kaylee Ashul and Leslie Tilton are responsible for this event and events like this. So thank you guys for all your hard work. We appreciate it. For the past 14 years, I've had the privilege of working at the center. And about a month ago, I was at an AAUW luncheon, and they were talking about what advice would you give to your younger self, or what would you give to young people coming up? And the consistent theme, other than watch your hairstyles over the year, which the video will show, no, it was choose something you love to do. And I can honestly say that I have chosen something that I love and I'm passionate about. And it makes me just happy that I get to spend my days working with a community, collaborating, connecting, and when we had the opportunity to look at merging Sarasota and Manatee, it was like yet another perfect opportunity to do something that has a bigger impact. Jamie Americh, where's Jamie? There, oh, in the corner, perfect. So Jamie Americh and Suzanne Fugate. So Jamie was the board chair in Sarasota last year. Suzanne of Manatee. Thank you, ladies, for all your hard work. And while I've been at the helm of the center for 14 years, there were so many women and men, some brave men, who had the vision of bringing services to the women of our community. One of these women is my dear friend Jan Entwistle, and I'm going to be really good, and we're not going to cry, John, so if you need to pinch me. Jan Entwistle passed away in October of this year, and when we started the Founders Luncheon, it was to pay tribute to those women that had the vision of bringing services to our community. And we have here today women from Sarasota, that founding board member of Sarasota, Ann Stinnett, and we have founding board members of the Women's Resource Center of Manatee, we view Jan Entwistle as our founder. She liked to say that she just held on the longest, which is Jan. And Jan brought to our community not only vision, but kindness, tenacity. Oh my gosh, she was tenacious. And if you knew her, you could not say no to Jan. Could anybody say no to Jan? So as we were looking today, we couldn't not have Jan be a part of this celebration. So we put together a little video that we want to share with you. Some wonderful pictures, some wonderful hairstyles that show, as well as a few clients and people that are involved with the center, as a way of saying thank you to all of you who support what we do, but a special nod to Jan Entwistle. So.
When I lost my job, after almost 8 years with an organization, I didn't know where to turn. I've been shopping at the boutique of the Women's Resource Center for years, and when Becky, the manager, found out I was looking for a job, she encouraged me to make an appointment at the center. What I found at the center was compassion and empathy. I was connected to a career coach who is helping me with my job search. I haven't found my next job yet, but I'm optimistic that I will have one soon. In the meantime, I'm volunteering at the boutique and networking with other women. I'm thankful there's a place like the Women's Resource Center in our community. Thank you for being there for me.
I'm Judy Sedgman. I'm a mental health mentor at the Women's Resource Center, and I am so honored and proud to be part of the Legacy Luncheon that's taking place on May 5th at the IMG Country Club. The Women's Resource Center is a great gift to Manatee and Sarasota counties. We offer so much in terms of building strengths, finding resilience, empowering women to make great changes and progress in their lives. We help so many women and families across these two counties. I also wanted to mention that this luncheon is particularly meaningful because it honors our legacy founders, and particularly the late Jan Entwistle, who was a very dear friend of mine for years, and a woman with such heart for issues that would help women in their lives.
Even though I have a large support system of great friends who have the best of intentions, it was so helpful to be able to connect to a place with services concentrated on women going through difficult transitions. The Women's Resource Center was there for me when I needed it. They are there for all women, regardless of their socioeconomic status or stage in life. Thank you for believing in and supporting the need for a Women's Resource Center in our community.
I'm Maria Zavala, founder of Latinas of the Women's Resource Center. In 2005, I approached WRC with a curriculum for a group for Latinas, and I just never left. Today, I'm proud to be a part of a diverse tribe that encourages, supports, and gives hope and opportunity to so many women in so many ways. You see, before approaching WRC with my proposal, I was going through a pretty intense transition of my own. WRC gave me the opportunity to put my skills to some use, and by encouraging me and supporting my work, I was able to heal while helping others to heal. WRC is not just about programming or providing resources and education. It's also about a movement of women receiving and then giving back. Having WRC in our community is a gift that will always keep on giving. Gracias for being there.
And thank you to METV for putting that together. We appreciate you. So, as you can see, Jan was with us every step of the way, and I was telling my table mates, every week I pick up the phone to call her and then go, oh, I can't talk to Jan, but I know she's with us, and she's with us today. And Jan, we're working on the digital sign, and it's coming, because I'm pretty sure she will haunt me if that doesn't happen. And as we're here today in this room, and we have such a wonderful, diverse crowd. We're going to get to hear from an entrepreneur, and we're going to get to celebrate our Wonder Women, which we love the women in our community that inspire us and really make us want to get engaged and do better. And the donors are a big piece of that. What? Is there an ask? That's so weird. Usually I'm not asking. But, and I know I tricked you because I'm doing it early. So in this room today, we have a donor that made a transformational gift to us a couple of years ago to help us launch a new program when we needed to respond to emerging needs in our community. We have a group that's just really pushes us to go outside the box and look for matching dollars, which we have that opportunity today. And then we have our volunteers and our clients who maybe they can write a $20 check, and you know what? That's great too, because it's all of us working together to make sure we have funding to keep our programs going. 60% of our budget comes from individuals, private grants and foundations, and our corporate partners. So when I say that you're important to us, you're important to us. And it's Mother's Day, a week from Sunday. So one-stop shopping, your donation today, not only do we have the opportunity for a dollar-to-dollar match up to $20,000 thanks to Manatee Matches. And Susie just wants me to call like at 2:30 today and say we're done. But you can choose a woman in your life, whether it's your mom, and yes, Mom, this is going to be your gift. Spoiler. Or maybe there's someone else in your life that inspires you. And we really do handwritten notes to them to express your just appreciation of them and what they've meant to you. So really wrap up all of Mother's Day shopping here. We're doing a text to donate, and there's information on your table. And if you do that before the end of the luncheon, we're gonna do a random $100 gift card to O Bricks. And they're gonna text one of you, so we don't even get to draw a thing. So that's pretty exciting. If there's any questions, and don't worry, I'll be back at the end to review again. But thank you for being here, and now I'm going to pass it to our board member, Gray Videnka, to introduce someone special in her life.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm going to break the microphone here. It's going to be sitting that way. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I get the real privilege this afternoon to introduce our keynote speaker, Bonnie Tyler. Bonnie Tyler is someone very special to me because she's my mother. So I know her pretty well. And if you're expecting this to be this typical sort of introduction, well, you might be in for a little bit of a surprise, because rather than feeding you with a bunch of her credentials, which I'll do, I'm going to introduce her from a daughter's perspective. And she said, uh-oh. So just to tell you a little bit about my mom, Bonnie Tyler, if you look in the middle of your table, you'll see that you have something that's called a neg. If I could just... So some of you may be wondering what this is. Well, It's, I think, the best ever invention for peeling a hard-boiled egg. Because everybody hates peeling a hard-boiled egg. You just add a little bit of water and you shake it, and it miraculously just, the shell comes out in your hand. So she's here to speak about that, but I know everybody gets inundated with it. Wow, and you get to take one home with you. So I'm just going to share a little bit about my mom. You know, by the time I was 10, I remember she sat me in front of the TRS-80. Some of you may know what that is, and if you don't, it's a computer. She had built a database, and she wanted me to test it. I think because she really was looking for somebody to go through it and make sure that if I didn't break it, that nobody else could. Then there were the renovations. Yes, we renovated the bathroom, we renovated the porch, we renovated the kitchen. We were constantly creating and doing something new in our house, all the time. You know, she's one of those women that can run a jigsaw, teach someone the Emily Post of manners, needlepoint, while creating a beautiful flower arrangement, and trading stock options. All while playing the accordion. Yes, my mother plays the accordion. So if you're looking for a mean polka, she's your woman. Then there's her golf. She qualified at the age of 40 for the women's golf, amateur. So for some of you who aren't golfers and don't know what that is, it's a really big deal to qualify for the USAM. And she did it at the age of 40, and she'll tell you if you ask that there was somebody that came up to her at the qualifying round and said, "Oh, is your daughter playing?" She looked at him and she said, "No, it's me." So I watched her play golf a lot as a kid, and I got to tell you, she won a lot of tournaments, but it wasn't always pretty. She has this knack of sticking the golf ball in places that it really shouldn't go, like the woods. You know, there's this long fairway, Mom, but she'd go into the woods, and her opponent would stand there, I'm sure, many times and think, "Oh, I got this made." But not with my mom. She'd always find an opening, and that golf ball would land right next to the pin. And mostly befuddled and confused, her opponents would usually lose to the fact that they couldn't understand how she pulled it off. So, you know, my mom, she's pretty cool. If you don't get that sense, I think she's pretty cool. But she's also had her, you know, personal battles. She's dealt with Lyme disease, which almost left her really crippled. But all the while, she always knew that there was a way that she could get back to it. She knew there was a way that she'd get back on the golf course. And 2 hip replacements and a knee replacement later, she is on the golf course, and she's created what's next for her in her life. And I also know that, you know, after 30 years of marriage, she didn't expect to get divorced. And she quietly battled what she thought her life was going to look like versus what it was. But if I want to leave you with anything about my mom today, is that she's somebody that doesn't let the circumstances stop her. So with that, I introduce you to Bonnie Tyler, inventor of the NEG.
Oh boy, how do I follow that? I could scream fire and you can all leave. You may have the idea that I'm jack of all trades and master of none, and you'd be absolutely right. The one thing I have in common with all the things I've done, though, is the word fun. Everything we did was always fun, and it had its moments where we didn't think we'd get to the end of the project, but it was always fun after we looked back and saw what had happened. I have to say that one thing that everybody looks at me and goes, "How do you do this at your age?" They don't really say that out loud, but they let me know that's what they're thinking. Well, not only my hairdresser knows for real, but I kind of wear it on my sleeve. They say that with age comes wisdom. I don't think so, or maybe I'm just not old enough yet. I'm almost 70 years old. And I don't let my age get in my way, but there's a secret to what I have done. You may see 70 here. On the inside, looking out, I'm 35. I stopped at 35. It never gets any older than that, and yes, I'm younger than Gray now. And I honestly think my age at this point might help. Some of the younger people I've run into and gotten assistance from in my latest project actually opened the door for me again. That was kind of cool. And younger people speak very slowly and loudly at me, which I need. And when I ask one stupid question followed by another, they just look pathetically at me and try to answer it again. So age does have its advantages, but I think the one thing that's pushed me through this latest project has been my determination and the will to get this job done. Let me tell you how this started. I was invited to a party and very innocently said, I'll bring a dozen deviled eggs to the party. Simple enough, right? Well, the eggs wouldn't peel, and I got more and more frustrated. One egg broke in half. I was getting more and more frustrated. And at the end of the day, I didn't have the eggs, but I did have a bag of potato chips in the cupboard. I think it was open, but they greeted it with, a good substitute. So what I did the next day was I didn't intend on making a neg for all of you. I didn't even have a name for it at that point. I just wanted something that would peel a hard-boiled egg. And I knew the resource to go to was the internet. So I got on the internet and found that there was nothing that really peeled a hard-boiled egg the way I thought it should go. So that started it. And where I ended up that day on the computer was at the sites that had the videos for the commercial peelers. And when I noticed that the thing that all the commercial peelers had in common was they'd roll the eggs forward, they'd shake the tray back and forth, and they'd hit them with water. Simple enough, right? Except that those made 40,000 eggs a day, which I really didn't need. And it would have taken up the entire downstairs of my house, so that was kind of out of the question. So what I decided was we could really put this functionality into a jar. Why not? So that was the beginning of it. And when I went into work on Monday, I grabbed my business partner and for the 7,000th time said to her, I have an idea. And this time she went along with it, amazingly enough. And she knew how to do a CAD program, which basically a CAD program allows you to draw a 3D object into a computer. So at this point, the two of us had the CAD program. We knew what we wanted to make this look like. But I'm not about to put money into something that we haven't tried, right? So that was a bit of a dead end until we asked around, ended up at the local library. And do you all know what a 3D printer is? Well, the library had a 3D printer, and basically, for those of you that don't know, it's like a glorified glue gun. And it could spit out the bottom of an egg, and it would come up the sides and put the bumps in, and it really was what we needed at this point. We went to the library, and the young man behind the desk said, you have to have a 2-hour program before you can touch these machines. Okay, that's fair enough. So we spent the 2 hours, and at the end of the 2 hours, we were given a certificate. We signed the certificate. The instructor signed the certificate. Heavens, I expected a marching band to come down through the middle of the library and say, you are the latest experts in 3D printers. The kicker on this was that our instructor, 11 years old. Talk about feeling old. And further, the day before, this young man, I'm trying to make a hard-boiled egg peeler. This young man, the day before, had made a prosthetic hand. And the morning that we caught up with him, his mother had thrown out the pinky. It was not his best day, or hers, I'm sure. So what we did with the 3D printer, it allowed us to change the design over and over again. We'd make one, we'd rush home, we'd boil eggs, we'd shake them, didn't work. Okay, back to the drawing board. We could do this over and over again at very little expense until we found the neg as you have it on the tables today. So it really was, the 3D printer, for anybody doing such a project as this, is really something you need in your quiver. So now we have the prototype. Great. What do you do with that? All right, so now we need to figure out how to manufacture these because the 3D printer would do one in an entire day. So this wasn't going to work, obviously. So we went on further down this adventure, And somebody mentioned injection molding. What's that? I had no idea there's blow molding, there's aluminum molds, there's steel molds. I had no idea about any of this. I had no business doing what I was doing because I never had any background in manufacturing, knew nothing about it. People would ask me if I was a physicist. No. Engineer? No. Maybe I have my master's in common sense, but that doesn't look likely at this point either. I have 10,000 negs sitting in a garage with my retirement money now. But before we got to that part and had these manufactured, we were turned down by 3 or 4 manufacturers because with injection molding, I could try to give a quick demonstration here. You have 2 huge pieces of steel that come together this way, and what happens is the plastic is injected into the void that happens between them, and when you pull out, you have a glass or whatever, a plastic glass would come out of there. Well, think about what happens when you put bumps on the inside of your device. It can't pull apart. So the manufacturers looked at us. We had 3 that said it was absolutely impossible. Another one said that it was possible, but it was going to cost me my house along with everything else. But finally, we hit on a manufacturer that was right up the street from our office, and this young man figured out how this could be done on these machines. So the next step was, how do you pay for this? We kept having these dead ends. You know, there's always something. Okay, so there's something called a Kickstarter program. Are any of you familiar with a crowdfunding program? What you do with Kickstarter is you set a minimum raise. So we wanted to raise $10,000 to pay the manufacturer. And what happens is people come in and they donate money to your cause, and if they donate $12, they get 1 neg. If they donate $20, they get 2 negs. So people donated to this, but you had to make the minimum raise. You had to make the $10,000 that we set out to make. If you didn't make that number, all bets were off. It was like nothing had happened, and you were done. Well, we were done. We didn't make the raise. So now what do? We've got so many things lined up. And it seemed like it would never happen. But when I read further about Kickstarter programs, you could run it again. So we did just that. We stepped back, regrouped, realized what we'd done wrong with the first Kickstarter program, and this time we raised 4 times what we were requesting. So we got our check and everybody got their negs. This has been an incredible journey because every time, I know nothing about what I'm doing. Now I know a lot more than I did. But now we run into a different set of problems. When I was asked to bring negs for all of you, lo and behold, manufacturer called and said, we have to take a week off. You can't take a week off. I need these now. And then they ran out of acrylic. Have you ever heard of anybody running out of acrylic? I mean, really, you run out of oranges or lemons or whatever, but you don't run out of acrylic. That had never even occurred to us that could happen. And of course, then we got the number of negs we needed to be able to package them up again. Well, who ordered the boxes? I didn't. I thought you were ordering the boxes. I didn't. So we had a shortage of boxes. I'm telling you, every step of the way, we're finally now getting a hold of what has come at us. We did the grommet.com. It's been highly successful, and weren't expecting to have such a response to all of this. But I think the main thing is, through all the time that we've been doing this, the one thing that spurred me on was when I talk to people about hard-boiled eggs. I'm an incredible conversationalist. Most of my friends cross the street when they see me coming now. But when I asked, and I bet you all can join me in this, when I asked people how they liked peeling their hard-boiled eggs, people didn't say it was frustrating or annoying. No, everyone said, I hate peeling boiled eggs. And it's almost to a person that feels that way. And that was what kept me moving along, was thinking, if I could solve this, I could have a lot of happy people out there. So we've gotten through most of our traumas, I hope, except I've been thinking that every time we get through another one. This afternoon we're going to go see HSN, which is the Home Shopping Network, which is really exciting. So, and I want to leave you with one last thought. And this is our latest ad campaign, and if you hate it, let me know. We're an American team. This is made in America. This is laid in America. Thank you. Thank you all for having me here.
That was terrific. And you did not brag on yourself enough. So since December, how many orders of negs have you had?
I think it's 35,000.
35,000 orders. And I think that Bonnie represents one side of the Women's Resource Center, and that we see women truly from looking at a transition to needing to make ends meet to connect with the basic services, whether it was seeing the job coach to I've always been an entrepreneur, and by God, who cares? I'm doing it now, and I'm going to keep going. So thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And now I have everyone's speeches up here. So now is the time of the luncheon, which we get to celebrate some special women in our community. And for those of you who were here last year, for our 25th anniversary, we had the idea, Amanda Horn and I brainstorming Julie Taylor on how do we recognize our 25th anniversary? So we went with Wonder Women in our community. And we were so touched by the response that we've continued the Wonder Women. And this year at the Renaissance Luncheon in Sarasota, we named our first Sarasota Wonder Women, Miss Betty Schoenbaum, who's here, Dr. Mona Jane, who's here. And we have a lot of Wonder Women in our midst. So if you are a previous Wonder Women recipient or are a Wonder Woman, could you please stand? And I can see you, Alicia. And this is in no particular order, so we're going to go alphabetically, actually. And we got a lot of wonderful, wonderful nominations. And I've got to thank my judges, Mr. Bob Turner, who, you're right in, like literally right in front of me. Jamie Carter, Lillian Elliott, and Jackie Dzelski. Thank you all. I know you had a tough job. And we have wonderful finalists as well. If you're a finalist, and I know several of you are here, please stand to be recognized. Our first Wonder Woman, I met when I had no idea what I was doing at the Women's Resource Center. I could relate to you, Bonnie. I transitioned from a manufacturing job into the nonprofit, and Jamie Carter was the board chair, silly girl, and she's like, there's got to be grants, and how do we figure that out? And I was connected with Susie Bowie, who at that point was working in the Nonprofit Resource Center at the Community Foundation of Sarasota. I think your hair was down to here. And that's when you had to go to the Community Foundation and log on because it was way too expensive to have access to the grant database. And since that time, and I think that was about 14 years ago, since that time, the things that you've done as part of your role at the Community Foundation with working with nonprofit people, working with the community, the Giving Challenge, and always being a cheerleader, never needing it to be about you, which is a common theme with our Wonder Women. I was not surprised to see you at the top of the list this year. So please join me in welcoming Susie Bowie, our first Wonder Woman. Yes, you all have to come up. And okay, so the fun part of the gift, and this was a good friend of mine showed this to me, and I just loved it. It's the Glenda Good Witch, and you had the power all along, dear. So, thank you so much. You have 12 seconds. Go.
I have exactly 12 seconds. I just want to say that since I have come into Manatee County, I have been so absolutely humbled by amazing people like Chuck Slater and his wife Jeannie, and Jim Bruin and Jane Plitt, and my incredible staff. And people here care so much, and they are so sincere. And I really think everyone here is a Wonder Woman for what you do, because you give from your heart. And Ashley, you are one of those people. And our community is what it is because of people like you. So thank you, and thank you to Roxy for coming all the way here, and for everybody who is so kind and caring. This community is what it is because of the genuine nature of people in it. Thank you.
So our second Wonder Woman, who we tricked and surprised. As I was introducing, and it's funny, every time I thank my staff, I forget somebody. This time I forgot two, so there you go. But for years, it was Amanda, who I would forget to acknowledge. And Amanda and I have been friends for a long time. We have lots of stories that buzz maybe a little expose before your last days. Could be interesting. But Amanda worked with us at the Women's Resource Center for 10 years. And I didn't realize until yesterday when we were talking to Lori Lawrence that you started off as volunteer coordinator. And in true Amanda form was like, I think I'd rather do this. And she was our community relations person for 10 years, and no one did it better. What you do in our community for women, girls, education, the Royal Consort at the Anna Maria Oyster Bar, and in your husband, John, who did nominate you, namely because we couldn't figure out who got to be on the list, so we just went with John. There was a fight for it. But when you and John found each other, you found such a true partner in making our community better. So, Amanda Horn. She reminded me of all the photos she has of me.
I have a lot. Anyway, thank you so much. The Women's Resource Center is so near and dear to my heart. And John is, I think, an honorary Women's Resource Center member. But thank you so much to everybody. I really appreciate it.
Last but certainly not least is Dr. Jan Pullen with St. Stephen's. And you are so beloved by your board and staff and the people that work with you that there was a clamoring to be here to support you. And we have the Wonder Women stickers for all of you, thanks to Elizabeth Moore, which is so sweet. Thank you for that. But I think Dr. Pullen is the head of school at St. Stephen's and has been a driving force for being creative and pushing the boundaries and making opportunities available to the students. And if you know a student from St. Stephen's, they are prepared, dedicated, somewhat sarcastic on some of the ones that I know. They're wonderful kids that are ready for that next step because you've prepared them so well at the school. I think the fact that I had to call you and email you to say, really, you got this award, speaks to why you are a Wonder Woman, because certainly it would have been somebody else. And so I think that speaks volumes. And I heard a little tidbit this week, there's spies everywhere, that when you were going back to get your doctorate to become Dr. Jan Pullen, that you actually participated in some classroom studies with your students as you were working on your coursework, which that made a huge impact on them, and it's the little things you do. So please welcome Dr. Jan Pullen.
Thank you, Ashley, for those kind words, and thank you to the Women's Resource Center. I've been a resident of Manatee County since 1968 when my family moved here, and I am so proud of Manatee County and Bradenton. And when I look out here to all the women here, and I see how the community has grown and what resources are here, and I'm just so thankful for all the resources that are for women in this community. And as being a woman head of school, which is I'm very much alone in that field around the country, and I'm proud that there are women supporting other women, because I think we need to be supported. And a big part of my life has always been in education. And so I'm always happy to hear how women are finding ways to be educated in this world that we live in. And so I'm so honored today to be a recipient of this award. So thank you very, very much.
I promise I'm only going to make you stand up here a little bit longer, but you have to have photos, etc. So one more round of applause for all these wonderful women and our finalists. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you to IMG. You did an amazing job today. It was funny, we've been at Renaissance on 9th, and I know Mary Beth is here, who always did a wonderful job, and we wanted to, hey Mary Beth, and we wanted to switch to be a little further south, a little more central, and make parking easier for people. Funny story. There's a golf tournament going on, so be patient, linger, have a glass of wine, have your picture taken, fill out your donation form, just as a thought. But truly, it is the people in this room, in our community, that make it possible for the women we see to get the help they need. So, and Susie has a question.
Yeah, if we wanted to do the text, do you want to give us a number? Do we call
It's 90407.
Is it on here? It's on here. Oh, it's on there, okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, good question. We like questions like that. So it's 90407.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
But thank you for being part of the work we do in our community. We really appreciate you. Happy Mother's Day. Bonnie, thank you for being here and being an inspiration for us. And we really appreciate you all. Have a great afternoon.